Fiddleheads. Yum.
Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning, Andy Brownell on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM, along with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing super. How's that? How about yourself?
I'm good. Did you bundle up a little bit more today than normal?
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
I know, but it just hit you like a ton of bricks.
I know. It's so funny that when we get to this time of the year, 25 degrees in November is bone-chilling cold. By mid-January, you're thinking 25 is actually fairly warm.
It's so awesome. Yeah, it's so funny. But you know what? I literally was at the Quick Trip early this morning, and I had on a sweater with fur around the hood, and the gal said, "Isn't it fun to get out the winter clothes?" And I said, you know what? I'm so happy I live in a place with 4 seasons. I really wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
You know, and I ran into a Mayo Clinic fellow this week. And he's not from here, from out east, and came to Rochester with no intention of staying here. Came here for residency,
right,
and then decided to stay for fellow, and the whole time going back to family in Pennsylvania or wherever it was all the time. And he goes, this place is kind of warming on me. He goes, I'm kind of conflicted now that I'm nearing the end of my fellowship.
I want to stay here.
Yeah, and it was the winter. He goes, I hate the winters, but every time I get to, the spring, it's so beautiful here in the summer.
And the winter's short, right? We got to tell ourselves that.
Yeah, relatively short. It's all perspective.
Everything is perspective, just like this real estate market. Okay. Where are we headed? What's going on, right?
So for months and months and months, we've been talking about home prices have continued to rise, but at a much slower pace, due to the rising interest rates and the economic conditions. Where are we at now on all that?
Okay. Well, that's a really valid question. And I actually have some statistics about that because the National Association of Realtors has announced that there is a slowdown in home prices ahead, despite of the great Q3 growth that we saw. Okay, so I don't want anybody to misinterpret and I don't want you to hear me say that home values are falling, but they may start to stay kind of where they're at for a little while. Okay, until the interest rates drop. So right now, in the third quarter, which clearly just ended, there was most states, I think, had pretty measurable growth, and I think a lot of them double digits. Okay, so house prices were still rising quite fast. And as a matter of fact, it was 46% of the 185 markets that the National Association tracks that did register double-digit increases. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so prices were continuing to go up, at a pretty hefty pace. And now what they're going to predict is that is going to slow down. And I think this is nothing different than what I've been saying, and that prices will still continue to go up, but maybe they're going to go up by 3% instead of 10%, or maybe they're going to go up by 1% instead of 8%. I mean, they're going to continue to rise, but very, very slowly. So we're going to see little baby steps in increasing values, and at worst case, just kind of remaining neutral for a while. None of the economists that follow real estate are predicting a drop in values. Okay?
Right.
So this is a good thing.
Well, to me, it's to be expected. That's what you get when you raise interest rates. You have a pause now because we saw unreasonable growth for a period of time. So things need to rest for a while.
Right. And I mean, let's face it, the mortgage rate doubled in the last year.
Yeah.
Do you know that's never happened in the history of time? It's never doubled in 1 year.
So on the positive side of that, and this is me speculating, the inflation report that came out this past week it was not good, but it wasn't horribly bad. Let's put it
Right.
that way. So
Right.
things moderated a bit. So that might mean the Fed could possibly not do another hike. So maybe we're already at the peak of where the interest rates will be. That's speculation, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you're far off from what the economists, the major players, are saying. You know, like, okay, this was all intended to. For a purpose, and it's accomplishing that purpose. And so, you know, as the prices as the interest rates have gone up, we're seeing the prices of the houses slow down so that people can still get in them. But I will tell you, the average cost of a home has gotten to be really expensive. So inflation isn't just hitting us at the grocery store and at the gas pumps by any means. I actually read an article that said, to get into a home now, the average home purchaser has to, with a 10% down, the average home buyer has to earn around $88,000.
Oh my goodness!
And that is up by $40,000 since pre-COVID.
So it's
that's not
doubled.
that long ago. Yeah. So that's a little scary. So I mean, you can see why people are panicking, but then unfortunately, here we go again but then they have to rent. So, oh, good, the rents are really affordable and everybody has a nice place to live with cheap rent. No, the rents are skyrocketed as well. So thank goodness the banks, know how to think outside the box. And guess what we're seeing again? Something I haven't seen since I started real estate, and that is interest rate buy downs.
Oh, by the points.
Yep. Haven't seen that in a while.
No.
Haven't needed to see that in a while. But, that's why I can't stress enough that if you just read the headlines, you're certainly going to walk away thinking, oh, man, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. Because I remember that. I remember being there in the 1980s. Thinking, oh, the world is full of gloom and doom. I'm never going to get a job. I'm never going to be able to afford to live because I just read the headlines or I just listened to the news. But the fact is you want to dig a little deeper and you want to get the whole story. So, yeah, maybe you're going to have to get creative with your financing. Maybe things are going to have to change a little bit. Maybe you're going to afford a little less house than you would have a few years ago. But it's definitely still a very doable thing to purchase a house. So I don't want people to be scared off and think that they can't do it anymore.
Well, the other way to look at this, too, is that number has gone up so much to purchase that entry-level house. But at the same time, you pointed out, rents have gone up insanely high as well. So the question that leads me to ask is how much does a household have to earn in order to have a decent apartment? It's probably a similar amount.
It's probably a similar amount. Yes, exactly. And that's why more and more people are living in their parents' basements, Andy.
No, don't say that.
I'm teasing. I'm being a little sarcastic on this crisp Saturday morning.
But it does beg the question: if you can, if you're in a place now thinking you can't buy the home because of the cost of the home, you should look at what you're paying for rent, and can you really be affording to pay that rent? I don't know. I would explore it at least, because we have talked about numerous times, it's about your monthly budget.
It's about your monthly budget. So that's what I talk to buyers about. Let's focus on what are you comfortable paying for your living each month, and then we'll plan our, we'll plan out what we're looking for and what our plan of attack is going to be based on what you can afford to pay each month.
And based upon the new listings that you described last week when we got together, there's a lot more of those houses available in those lower ranges than there were previously.
Yes, and I do have those, and I have those stats because I do have the Rochester market report. Okay. So I don't know if you want to take a break or.
I do. Perfect timing.
Awesome. I knew you were going to say that.
All right. We'll be back with more. We're with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results in a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. You have the Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We are back on this chilly Saturday morning. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. And you mentioned you have the numbers,
Yes.
the market report numbers. I'm always interested in this.
And this is just a few days old. I think I pulled this together on Thursday or so. So it's pretty accurate. So currently, we have 140 sales pending. Now, this market report is for Rochester, okay?
Okay.
So 140 sales pending. So that means they've gone under contract, they've cleared their inspections or whatever other contingencies they had, and they're just waiting period to close. Okay, so they're as good as sold, but not sold until the signed on the final line. So 140 of those. And as far as listings that are still currently active for sale, we have 279 more. So when you do the pending ratio, you divide the 140 by the total of 419, and it's 33% that are pending. So a third of what we had in inventory is pending. So 2/3 is not. So what does that actually mean? Well, when that pending ratio, that indicates the supply and demand of the market, right? So if it's a high ratio, excuse me, if it's a high ratio, that means that the listings are in demand and quickly going to contract. If it's a low ratio, that means we don't have enough buyers for the existing supply. 50% is neutral, right? So 3% is going toward the buyer's favor.
Okay.
I would still say it's still a mildly, it's not far off. It's not like, oh boy, buyers can run out there and get 10% off the asking price. It's not that, but we definitely are seeing people negotiate down from full price. And like I said before, people are not balking at letting their buyers get an inspection and even taking care of the items that come up on the inspection reports. So those kind of things we have been seeing over the last, I would say 4 to 6 weeks, but we're going to see more of that. And the average days on market most recently is 46 days.
It's still short.
It's still short. I mean, it just seems like a lifetime when not too long ago the average was 7. So that's the part, is conditioning our sellers to understand what the expectations should be. I think that, and you've heard me say this before, and I don't like to repeat, but I think some things just need to be repeated. And I think the scariest thing about buying and selling a house is the unknown. And so I think as professionals, if we are setting clear expectations for both sellers and buyers, we can remove a lot of that, and we can help make the process a lot less stressful.
I can see that completely. If you go in the door and say, the market's shifted, and I know your neighbor sold their house in 3 days, but these interest rates have changed all that, and now it's going to take maybe a month or 2.
Exactly. And it's really up to us, because if there's no conversation, we go away with 2 different sets of expectations, and that seller might still feel really confident that the same thing that happened for the neighbors is going to happen for him. And if we don't actually talk about it out loud and make sure that they understand, because the truth is most sellers are very reasonable, and they understand that as realtors, we don't control the market, we just understand it. And we work in it. And so we have to be able to tell them what to expect. And I know you've heard me say, think about climbing a mountain. You want the best guide you can get, right? And the trickier the mountain or the trickier the market, the better guide you're going to want.
Yes. I want that experience at this point as well.
So let's kind of break it down to what we have available, because it's always that $200,000 to $300,000 price, right? I mean, most of our pending listings have been in that price range, and actually most of our active listings are in that price range. So of the 279 active, I think we only have, 15, 19, 30 that are above 800,000. So that means we have 249 that are below. And then if we look at it, looks like we've got only 60 above 500,000. So most of our listings are below 500,000, but between 200 and 300 we've got 64. Between 300 and 400 we've got 55. But right before we came into this segment, you said there's more affordable homes out there. Between 100 and 200, we actually have 27 active listings.
Wow, that is a change.
Yeah, so there are more out there. If you've had to decrease your budget, the good news is the inventory that you have to choose from has multiplied. So, there's always a brighter side. There's always a positive. Days on market, it looks like the market average has actually been 67, and the market median has been 46.
Okay.
So yeah, it's taken a month and a half, 2 months to get your house sold. It's just a little different.
And we have said this before. It wasn't that long ago, a matter of years. It was 3 months was normal.
Right. It wasn't until we didn't start getting stressed. When I got into the business, we didn't start getting stressed out about a listing until after it sat on the market 6 months.
Yeah.
And now it's like the stress comes on much, much quicker, like after the third week, because it's just, we're still trying to condition sellers and even agents, because I've said, the statistics about the numbers of agents that have worked in this climate, it's pretty mind-blowing, because most haven't. Most have never seen a median days on market of 46. Most have never seen an interest rate above 4%.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are, just hovering right around 7%. So that's when it's time for them to learn about the adjustable rates and the interest rate buy downs. And so there's a lot to learn.
And I still, every time I hear that, oh my God, the rates are 7%, the sky is falling, I go, well, from my perspective, that used to be a pretty good rate.
Right.
Oh, goodness. Well, we do have to take another break so we can continue delving into the numbers a little bit with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results. Back in a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose?
Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We are back with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. And we've been talking, Robin, about the latest market report, snapshot on what's happening.
Yes. So now I'm going to look at some kind of broader numbers, like just how things are going month over month or year over year, because it's kind of interesting. It seems like we're all of a sudden inundated with inventory, because people are like, oh, there's so many more houses on the market. Well, we have literally 1 year change in homes for sale is up 4.9%.
Gosh.
So we have 5% more houses for sale. So it's not a ton, but if we have 5% more, plus they're sitting around a little longer, it just seems like more.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
The median... go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, what you described, too, I think you said about 10% of the homes that are listed right now are above 500,000, and I think you had a lot more.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right?
For a while, that high end was going crazy because we had that whole phenomenon of buyers jumping from their starter home to their dream home because of the interest rates being, 2.25 or 2.5 or 2.75 or whatever they got locked in at. And they're like, whoa, at this price, I can just afford to skip the $500,000 house and go from my $300,000 house to my $800,000 house or whatever. They just missed a step on the ladder. So, yeah, we did have a lot of sales in the high end last year. I think I personally sold, 7 or 8 houses that were more than $1 million.
Wow.
So, yeah, there were a lot of high end sales last year. Might even been more than that. But the median sales price. So I talked about how prices are going up. This is confusing because a sales price and a home value are not the same thing. And the reason I say that is because we're very well aware that most homes were selling above value, right? So we have to take that into consideration when I say that year over year, the median sales price has only gone up by 0.8%, so not even a full percent. So does that really mean that our home values in our market only went up by less than 1%? No, it's not the case at all. It's just that because they were selling above value and now they're not, right? So then couple that with the fact that the home values have increased, that's how you get to that number.
Sure.
So I just want to make it clear.
And actually, considering what's happened with that number is actually higher than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that prices moved higher. I mean, the median sale price was $253,950. Okay, and that means that I think we were at like 249. I don't know. It was really close. So they didn't move a lot, but definitely went up. I hear a dog barking.
That happens once in a while.
That's what we get when we're no longer in the studio, right?
It's the studio. It's just not where it was before.
Yeah, portable. Yeah, mobile. There you go. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
Yep, that's okay. I did too. This stat I did find interesting because we had been dropping in our number of closed sales. We had been dropping at a much slower rate than many parts of the nation, but it seems like we have rapidly caught up because 1 year change in closed sales has been 30% for us. Really?
Yeah. So that's quite a few.
That is. Mm-hmm. These numbers always have an interesting twist to them.
Yeah, they do. They do. But, what I will tell you is people are still calling me every day to put their houses on the market, and new buyers are calling every day to say they want to get started in the process. So I certainly don't want anybody to think that, oh my God, nobody's buying and selling houses anymore. The world's coming to an end. The sky is falling, all of those things, because the truth is that we definitely are still selling houses.
Well, everything you've described, and we've said it before, we've shifted from an anomaly of a market to a normal market.
Right.
And that means things continue to churn.
So that 30%. So last year, October of 2021, we had 630 closed sales. This year, 2022, we had 436 closed sales. So that's where that 30% decrease comes. But 436 closed sales in the month is not nobody buying a house.
No, it's not.
That's the month of October, mind you.
Right.
Those are closings.
And that's not the hottest month of the year for real estate.
Right. So, actually, the hottest month of the year was June of this year, 2022, and we had 707 closings. And the prior year, it was 770. So it was down. That's why I say I've been telling you month over month we're down a little from last year. And, November of 2021, we were actually I am so crazy. Yeah, I'm starting from last year, yeah. November of 2021 was up 1.5% over 2020. And then December was up 1.9% over 2020. And then we get into January. So in January of this year, we were up 2.5% over last year. In February of this year, we were up 4.6%. March, we were up 6.7%. April, we were up 1%. Then May, we went down by 2%. June, we went down by 6%. July, we went down by 10%, month over month now, okay?
Right.
And August, we were down 5%. September, we were down 8%. So that's why I've been saying each month, we're not anything compared to the parts of the country that are dropping by 25 and 30 and 35% month over month. But then our October did turn out to be a 30% drop over last year. But that still means that over the 12 months, we've dropped 5.2%. So, yeah, it's not as, that's why you have to go past just the headline, right? You have to know the whole story. But yeah, so it's still, things are still good out there, and we still need a place to live, and there's definitely still a way to get people into a home, whether it's creative financing or whether it's contract for deed or whether, there's other ways, right, to do it. So I don't want people to be discouraged and think that they've missed their shot at being a homeowner.
Absolutely
because
not.
That is definitely not the case.
So if somebody wants your experienced guide, how do they reach you, Robin?
I would absolutely love to help, whether it's to literally help you with the process or even answer any questions you have relating to real estate. And my cell phone is the best way to get me. That number is 507-259-4926.
Great. All right, Robin. We'll get another update from you next week. I look forward to it.
Sounds great.
All right.
Have
Thank
a great
you so
weekend.
much. You too. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and night.
This is
Today with Amazon Business, Shannon Stuckey of Walburn Woodworking helped her team buy 63 circular saws.
Okay, Andy, take it easy.
Now she uses her time to focus on growing something big. Buy smarter, dream bigger. Visit Amazon Business, your partner for smart business.